Hello, this is Mr. Hatton, and today we're going to be working with basic text features in Microsoft PowerPoint. And so we're going to start today with just a blank presentation, so I encourage you to follow along with us. Your content does not have to be the same, but you can follow along just to practice with some of the different text features and ways that we can set our PowerPoints in order to be effective and able to convey the information, the feel that we want them to have. And so today, just because again the content does not matter, but today I'm going to do my presentation on the Cincinnati Bengals, my favorite football team. And so we're just going to have some facts about them. We're not going to do anything working with pictures in this presentation. We're just going to work with the text. This is something that you can pick up later on and add pictures to. But we are going to just practice with some of our basic text features. So choose your own topic that you just want to present about, and we'll go from there. So first of all, we are going to, just a quick refresher of some of our other things that we've worked with, we're going to add a design. So I'm going to choose one that fits with my presentation theme. And so with mine being about the Bengals, their colors are black and orange. When we go to the Design tab, we can look at preset templates that we can use. One thing that you'll notice about them is that none of them, though, are the perfect black and orange colors. However, we can alter that by really not worrying about the color yet, but just worrying about what does the outline look like. Is there anything that would help us to show just a design that could go with it? And so what I'm going to choose is just a basic design, but then I'm going to change the colors. And so we can go to the variants and you can look at preset colors that if I wanted to change it to a blue, brown, or green, we could do that. But again, we don't have the black and orange, so I'm actually going to go to Customize Colors. And when I go to the Custom Colors, I'm going to set them how I'm going to leave the black because that will fit with the Bengals theme. They're a black and orange team. But then I'm just going to, for now, just change this yellow accent to more of an orange accent. And so I'm going to have to go to more colors to find it, and it may not be perfect. If I was really going to present this to somebody, I would find the exact color and actually bring that in that the team uses. I'm just going to find one that's close for the sake of this presentation. And so you can see that as I'm clicking on our more color options, we can change some of that and see it's given us a preview of what that would look like here. Theirs is a kind of a deep orange, and so that will be close enough. It may not be perfect, but that will be close enough to the color. I'm going to click OK. You can see it saved that change, and then click Save. And then now we can see that it has updated our slide color, and this is actually applied to our entire slide. And so they're all going to use the same color scheme within the theme that we chose from the badge color. So now I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and I'm going to add a new slide, and I'm going to add a title and content slide. And now that I look at this, I may want to think about checking out, since there's not a whole lot of orange, there's more of a white feel than to the orange. I could go back and change that, and let's actually look at that, look at our colors. Back to our custom colors. Let's see, and instead of white, I may change this to an orange as well. And then the only thing that will do is that it's sort of, you can now barely see the outline. It's a slightly different shade of orange for the design of the background. So anyways, it does at least give us the orange color for our background of our slides. So we are going to title the first slide About the Bengals. And so when we go to a title and content slide like we have up here, the layout that we have here, it automatically starts us out with bullet points. And so I'm going to leave the bullet points. They're easy to navigate through, and as you type your text and then press enter at the end of the line, it will automatically add a new bullet point at the end of the line. If you accidentally deleted it and you want to add them back in, just go to the Home tab and click the bullet item, which is under the paragraph group, and then it will add them back in. Or if you decide that you don't want them, all you have to do is just hit backspace on the keyboard, and that will get rid of the bullet points. I'm going to put them back in there. And I'm going to say for our first fact about the Bengals, they are in the AFC North. Their owner is Mike Brown, and I'm going to say their star players are AJ Green and Andy Dalton. And so now that we have a little bit of text that we can work with, I want us to look at the actual fonts themselves. So the font is the style and the way that the letters look. So we actually have a different font for our headings and for our text that are preset based on the theme that we chose. Depending on what theme you have, it may give you different texts, different fonts to go along with those. And so I want us to practice with changing those. So as you're creating your own presentation, I don't want you just to leave it as the default. I want you to actually change that. I want to show you a couple of things that we can do with font. First, we're going to click this drop down option here, and you can see that there are a lot of different fonts that are preloaded. One thing to note is that as I am scrolling through them, and this will be true of most things that Microsoft does, it gives you a preview when you just mouse over the text. And so you can see here to the side, as I'm placing the mouse over top of some of the different font styles, it is changing the fonts as we go. And it does not save any font. It doesn't change this from this Gil Sans font that was automatic unless I actually click on the font. Just putting the mouse over it shows you a preview, but does not make any changes permanent. Also, because I'm just changing it for this one slide, I would have to go back and change this in other slides as well if we did not actually change it in the entire theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one, and just a note on fonts, and you could play around with this a lot. If you are giving any kind of a professional presentation, change your font away from some of the standards. You don't want to just use a Times New Roman or a Calibri or Arial. For some people, they may gloss over it and not even notice, but the font does matter to some people, and so by just choosing one that's a little less standard, if you have the Adobe software, you actually have access to a lot of different fonts that will be different, because it does make a difference to some people to see that you're not just using a very basic font. So choose one that's less common, just to give a little bit of flavor to your presentation. A note on fonts, one just important thing to know about them is that we can group all of our fonts into either serif or sans serif, which just really means does it have the extra little notches at the end of them. So like a font that's common, like let's say a Times New Romans, so Times New Roman is a common font that is a serif font, just meaning that it has little notches you can see at the end of each letter. I'll zoom in here, that we can see on each letter. It's got the little notch at the end where they come together. Different types of fonts may have it be curled at the end, or there can be different options, but any little extra piece that's at the end of the letters is considered serif, whereas sans are without the serif. Like our title here, there's no extra notch. The letters just end where they end. There's no extra little curls to them or anything like that. And so we're going to just choose let me zoom out here, a sans serif font so that we can be consistent with our titles. So I'll just choose this Adobe Gothic Standard. You can choose any font that you like, but at least it's sans serif, similar to the title of the slide. Now we can think about sizing our font. I'm going to select all of our font that's here, and then we could either change the number in the drop down, or we could use this icon here that has the A with the plus or the A with the down, and this just moves it along so that you can see on the screen how is it moving. So I'm going to move it back down a little bit, and so you can see this makes it 40. We could have done the exact same thing by just typing 40 in here, but this allows you to check it quickly by just moving it up and down and seeing how that fits on the page. So now I'm going to add a new slide. I'm going to add another title and content, and this time I'm going to delete our text box just by clicking on the outside. You see I get the arrow that has the 4 directions, and I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. You would want to be consistent, but I'm going to show you some different ways to add titles just for the sake of this presentation. If you were really giving a presentation in a professional setting, you would want to keep your title formats consistent. But we're actually going to add some word art here for this section just to practice working up with it, and I want to show you a couple things. So we're going to go to the Insert tab and then Word Art, and we're going to click this drop down. And you can see that it's actually applied our themes. The colors are all oranges and blacks. Some of the greens and blues are left over because those are some of the minor accent colors that were from the original. But it's actually giving me word art designs based on the text color, outline color, background color, based on the theme, the colors that I added to the theme. So let's just click this one, and you can see that it adds it. It just dropped it into the middle of the slide. I'm actually going to have to click and move it up to the top. It's giving us an orange outline with a black fill. And we're going to talk about the offense. But we want to give it a little bit more style than that, and so we've got some options. These are pretty standard options. Notice that the Drawing Tools tab appeared on the side to where we can now work with. It gives us a new set of tools that we did not have when we were down when we clicked in another section. But now that we are in the Drawing Tools, we actually get some options with text effects, text outline, and text fill. The fill is going to be what color goes in the middle. Again, you can see that we're getting that preview, and so let's actually make it a little bit of a dark gray, so it's a little bit different contrast from the black that's on this side. So we're going to go with a dark gray for the fill. We still have the orange outline for that as well. You can't really see it against the background. But then now let's go back in. Let's also look at our Drawing Tools format, and we're going to give it a text effect. And so for this, I'm going to give it a transform effect. Be careful with this. Again, if you're trying to make it look professional, you don't want it to be so busy that it throws off the professionalism of your presentation. But sometimes there can be a time for some flair to that. So let's just add this one. It gives us the chevron up, so where it comes to a point at the middle and it's going to come down. So I don't think we applied that one. And so you can see that now it's giving us a different feel, a look. It's come to this point at the top of the E and then has everything coming off the sides instead of going straight across. So let's give some bullet points for points wide receiver. AJ Green. Giovanni Bernard. Quarterback, Andy Dalton. O-line, Andrew Whitworth. I think I'm spelling his name right. Those would be some of the different positions. And now let's talk about spacing within these. When I select these, we get a few different options with spacing. First of all, this is actually with alignment, but it's connected there. We can align it similar to Word, the center, right aligned, or left aligned. The default left aligned really looks better here. I am going to increase our font size so that it matches what our previous slide was. And so, but now if we look at spacing, we have some different options. We can click the drop down. We're still working within the paragraph group. We can choose to double space, 1.5 point space, or single space, which is going to be the default. There's also a shortcut that if we wanted to go straight to double space, we can use Control-2 or Control-1 to go back to single spacing. But we're actually going to select 1.5 spacing just to space them out a little bit, but not make too big of a change that it's going to throw anything off of the page. And we may have a little bit of an issue going on with our auto fit to the text box to where it's wanting to reshape those. But that is how, so we could work with that text, but it would be changed from our line spacing options. And so I'm going to leave the presentation at this point. So practice with those things on your own presentation, and then check out part 2 of this video in order to see some of the other features that we're going to work with. But so far we've worked with adding slides, editing the variants, creating a custom color scheme on the variants within a design, changing the font size, changing the font style, and adding word art, including both making the transformations to that, as well as changing the fill and the outline. Thank you.